shade here for a little bit.
I know. Grab some sun, guys. Jeez, when you can.
What do you do off season when you kind of self-scout, self-evaluate last year? You go back over every game, every play. What do you do just in kind of the off season to review what you did and carry it forward?
Yeah, self-scout, or as off-season goes forward, as we utilize the cut-ups, there's a number of things that obviously you go through, evaluating every game, every play. We use a good analytic system that puts together what we call our binder, which is our binder of our self-scout and everything that we want to study. We've got a pretty comprehensive and I think dialed-in approach to kind of looking at that and how we can evaluate ourselves. And that's always the best part about off-season for us, is we get to go back and, after 1 year, utilize our cut-ups that we've got and go back and find out exactly where things are and what we like and what kind of approach we want to take. And then the next part of off season is usually study kind of what's out there, what are the trends, what little things you could do to maybe make you better individually, maybe half unit, core unit, run game, pass game that you like. And so that's kind of the offside we spend the off season. Right now, the off season we had a few coaches on our side we had to hire and stuff, so we've got Coach Bo here and some new analysts and student assistants. So that was the other part about it too, is retraining.
You file those cut-ups away in terms of like, all right, this worked on 3rd and short, this worked on 1st down, and kind of go back, or this didn't work, and try to say, hey, because we have some of the same personnel back, maybe we try this and this we really like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's really, really thorough. I mean, it's ultra advanced in regards to how much you can get back, but it's how you utilize the data, you know. So we segregate into, like, you know, 1st down, what was effective on 1st down in certain personnels in certain parts of the game, how with the certain parts of the game affected, how was this concept affected, how was the ball, you know, to this receiver in this concept, and then basically, you know, just like anything else, it's just like a major business. It's like, you know, if that's not working, you know, where do you find out where your hay's made, you know? And we get 356 days to look back at what we did for a year and go, okay, we were pretty good at that, and that was smart. This is something, and I think as coaches, sometimes we get hung on things we really like, no different than any other human. You like this certain thing, but why do you like it, right? If it wasn't very good, then scrap it. Let's go back and get another rep at this. And I think that's the one thing that you evolve in coaching, that you can kind of get smarter as you get older, get wiser, is do less, you know, and get better at kind of what you're doing.
What are the kind of check marks for this first block of spring practice that you want to get done with the offense?
Well, the first block, obviously the five practices before you get spring break, and then we kind of have this break. Number one was get the new guys, staff and new guys, kind of acclimated and truly give yourself an evaluation. A lot of times what you can do, and I've made a mistake early in my career, was you try to give those guys too much early and you don't really get to see them because they're thinking so much. So we've done a good job in past years, and now moving forward to now is making sure that they can comprehend enough so we get an eval on guys early, let alone get some staff guys caught up and really work on core stuff early. You know, the first 2 practices are non-padded, then you get shells, you're in 3, you get 4, and 5 they're out of here, you know, 5 you're done, and it's your only 2nd day in pads, so, and it's a back-to-back practice, so usually kind of wind it down, but it's really core stuff early on, you know, and really teach guys how to practice.
What got impressions of Millen since he got here? I mean, obviously you knew him from the recruiting process. Yeah. How has that advanced, though, since he got here?
You know, it's been awesome. The biggest advancement those guys can make, a lot like Tyler, isn't maybe on the football field the first 2 days. It's what they've done since they've been here when they got here, and it's in the weight room. Their bodies are starting to change. They're getting stronger. At the end of the day, he's just getting ready. He should be getting ready for prom, right? And so you're going to see in the first practice where, I mean, I already know I'm expecting the ball to go like it did yesterday, get tailed out of there a little bit and kind of be anxious, and that's part of it. The same thing Tyler went through last year, and these mid-year guys, you really got to make sure that you're coaching every play. You can't jump those guys too early, and you got to kind of bear with him. He's been a little bit dinged up too, a little ding in his foot, so he's kind of coming along. But he'll be just fine. You know, the things I've learned right away without having the field stuff is that he's smart. You know, he's really smart. He's a junkie. He's in the office all the time. He takes really good notes. Football is really important to him, and I think that's what you want. You know, right on.
What do you guys have the guys who are going to be joining for that second block, like Pittman and what else? Like, what are they supposed to be doing now before they?
I think each year we've taken a little bit different of approach. No different than when you start working with someone for a long time. I think that the key for us is we're really comfortable on each other, but you can't get too comfortable. It's still having I think my approach for him this senior year is to make sure, number one, I'm making this an experience the best I can for him, because you only get this shot being this age at this place one time in Power 5 football as a senior, and it's got to be fun, and it's got to be something that he can get a lot out of, and I think that's important to me, making sure that every day for him he feels like, man, I'm excited to be here, and then pushing him to an extent to where, and he's got a lot of things that he's done a really nice job with, but where's 1 or 2 things I can really find and go, hey man, this one practice, we're going to work on this. You know, we worked on one footwork thing today that we've been doing for 2 years, and I'm like, here's something, and it goes back to what he asked earlier. on film, it was good, but it wasn't perfect, right? It was like, we're going to change this up just a little bit, and I'm going to do a better job coaching this part here. Maybe I said this a different way, and so we've done a good job. I think the thing you get naturally at that level right now with me and him is, it's almost like he'll come back with a question knowing what I'm going to ask. You know, it's kind of like you start being able to read each other a little bit better. Hey, I know what you're going to say. I got it. And you're like, all right, you got it. You know, or hey, can I try this? And you're like, that's a good idea. You know, I think just experience. You can't replace that. You know.
Time for a couple more.
Only 2 practices. The wide receivers, the guys who are returning. See any improvement? Anything that gets your attention? And then some the new guys.
Yeah, the receivers done a nice job. I think Coach Bell's been an awesome addition for us. You know, he does a really good job with the room and getting the room detailed. We moved a couple guys in different areas, losing Dylan in a position, but the experienced guys have come back with an advanced demeanor, which is what you want to see. You know, Red and Schooler and Johnny with a lot of reps have really come back, and you can see that where maybe it was, you know, a little bit of a lull here, no longer is there. It's full speed, and they're taking things really personal, and they're making things real deliberate. The young guys, Delgados and Brian Addison stepping in and things like that. That's where you're kind of like really watching to see how they advance, and I think that we've been excited there. Brian Addison's had a couple good days of practice. Delgado is a brand new kid, you know, a freshman who's again still should also be in high school, has come in and done a really nice job. The list goes on, you know, of guys that have. JJ Tucker's in there right now. Crocker's got out with a little ding. Those guys have started to jump in there right away, and I think because the older guys have stepped it up, the younger guys are like, okay, here we go, and that's what you want to see. You know, you start shrinking that gap between the most committed and the least committed, or most experienced and least experienced, and you start to get guys that start to push for the top. And it's exciting to see it even after just 2 days.
You said you discard some stuff. How much do you add? I mean, how much would you want to add in a second year for you in terms of different look? I mean, you have your quarterback back. You said look back on last year, and stuff that didn't work goes out. Do you bring in a lot of new stuff, or do you want to just kind of take the things that worked? And
you take things that work, and then you just kind of see what can you do, what can you work through. I think there's a couple different schemes that we like that I think fit us with what we're going to do, and with Justin experience and a little more experience outside, you know, without giving it away. But yeah, there's a couple of things you add wrinkles to, or maybe we only did, maybe it was a B-list type of thing, you know, or secondary type of thing, and it was really good, you know, the efficiency and that wherever you looked at was really good. You're like, man, we did it 5 times, let's do this 15 times instead of 5, you know, like that was a really good play. You ran it 10 times and there was 5 explosive plays. You're like, well, let's ramp it up and bump this down. You know, the other one was just something we were banging our head against, but I think that's us going through with a fine-tooth comb and trying to be better.
When you guys do have a new coach on your staff, like the new wide receivers coach, do you go through and like watch all his film? Like, how do you guys get on the same page, you know, for when you guys are coming into practice?
Well, first part's the interview. You know, that's an extensive full-day deal where you're watching, but prior to even hiring, you watch all of Utah State stuff. We watched their game. We already watched them versus Michigan State. They played them early in the season, saw that a little bit. You call everyone you know. It's a small circle of coaches. And then you just bring in, you just go, you know, and you talk ball, and if you can, I think the question you're asking really is like, is there something I can yell, hey, this was your whatchamacallit? I don't not advanced enough to know the system, but maybe I'm like, remember what we talked about when you guys called it that can help, and we do that, yeah, for sure. If you can, that's really nice, you know. But that's, I think, part of the interview is the fact you can feel like in an interview, hey, he's going to pick up, you guys translate communication well. You know, you guys pick things up fast, you guys can communicate, oh, he gets this, okay. And so that's kind of the flow of how you feel a guy can fit in.
Thanks.